activism need to be about keeping these commandments.
This is not what I expected out of them. The true Bible, the book about fathers.
Right. The Most High has given us guidance on what we need to do.
It's Officer Eli. It's Officer Nahshon. Officer Ezekiel.
Put this posting up here. Bishop Nathaniel had put this up on Twitter, and I ran across it almost like at the last minute. I said I got to throw this in here because this right here just makes the point clear about what this lesson is about. Part 1 and part 2. Okay, show it up on there. It is. Come on, give it to me.
It says you can't start the next chapter of your life if you keep rereading the last one.
In other words, you keep on dabbling back in your sins, back into your evil. Right. In other words, all of us can repent. All of us can change, but we got to be serious about it, which is why I'm making a point about us. Us as men, as fathers, as mothers, we have to be serious about not allowing our houses to go down the wrong path, okay? And it's going to take a lot of work. I know many of us got excuses. Both parents work, this and that and the other. Whatever it is, we still have to you got to make the means.
Right.
If this is a situation where you know that your children have to be the ones that's got to take over when you go. If we don't do this, we will lose. I have to sound the alarm because sometimes we're not thinking about how important it is that we have to get to these children. This is our offspring. These are the ones that are supposed to carry when we get sick, old, and all of that. They got to be in the right mind. But our enemies, because we've been bull crapping for so many decades, like I pointed out in the first part, we've been bull crapping, and we've allowed all kind of things to just slip right through our fingers. By the time we woke up from the sleep, the enemy had already had the minds of all our children, of all our men, women, turn them into homos, thugs, what up, bang, all that madness. Yeah. By the time the rap music, they took over music. Now it's completely filthy. They took over television. Now it's black evil television. Right. Everything that brothers fought for in the 60s and the 70s, we lost it all because we went to sleep. Right. Once the hard times created the strong men, the strong men put things in place, was trying to turn things around, and then when the strong men brought forth the good times made us lazy. In other words, we did not stay with our finger on the spiritual trigger to make sure that our children continue. You can never take your mind off the enemy. Right. I don't care how quote-unquote good things seem to be, because the enemy is always waiting for an opportunity to take you out. And what happened is we went to sleep, we laid back, and by the time you realize it, your children were gone. Social media had completely wound their minds up. Yep. Filthy videos, television, movies, you name it, all homo, every damn thing have basically separated our children away from us. And to many of us, it's too damn late, because some of our children are completely gone. That is within that same time period, to prove what I'm saying, within that same time period of what the gains of the 60s and in the 70s, the enemy came in and came forth with that policy to bring the dope into the community and round our brothers up and put them in jail. And if you look at that documentary called 13, you see how the graph right after the 70s, that daggone thing went up like this, skyrocketed. The numbers went boom of just the people being locked up. You're not even talking about the people on crack, the people that's not even in the jails yet. You're not talking about the people that's in the psych units. You're not talking about the people that have turned to homos and all of that. You're not talking about the divorce rates and the children being born with no fathers. All of those are extra. Those are extra things on top of the prison boom. Why? Because we got lazy. We leaned back. We thought things were all right. And by the time we realized it, we looked up. Now you got the women. A lot of women are realizing, say, where's our husbands at? Right. Now they all over the social media crying, talking about where our men at. Right. Because we went to sleep. Men and women, we all went to sleep and just allowed all of the gains that we were trying to do. We've said, oh, we good. We're in heaven now. Just like that brother said, we think we're in heaven. They're talking about the bodyguard to Malcolm X. Right. He said, that's what the problem is. We think we're in heaven now. Them brothers realized the descent right there. And we didn't care. Right. Then they came out with these wicked television sitcoms, My Two Dads. We didn't even pay attention to stuff like that. Two and a Half Men, stuff like that.
Right.
You know, okay? These so-called sitcoms where you have the woman running over the men.
Right.
Comedy and all that kind of mess that just put us all to sleep. And while that was happening, the perverted, evil demon enemy came in and took our children away from us. Right. Now, by the time we realize it, the kids can't even relate to us anymore. Right. So there you go. Yep. That's what's happening. Yep. That's what's going on. So, like I said, we ain't seen nothing yet. The situation is so bad now. By the time you really realize the path that they're going in, you're gonna be sick. You're gonna be sick. You wonder why all these girls are missing. That's a whole nother we gonna deal with that. All these girls that's missing, boys missing too, all of that. Because there's a thing that I thought about earlier. Usually when people go missing, there's a database that all of these people get put into. Like, for instance, I know I'm going back on a lot of y'all. When they had the Atlanta child murders, that's the thing that I can think about. And I think that was like in the 80s. It goes back. It goes back like in the 80s. I remember in the Atlanta, like in the early 80s, okay, you had a situation of men, boys, black men, being killed, murdered. And then they were finding their bodies in the water, woods, and all types of stuff. And every one that they found, they was documenting that said, your son is dead, this one is dead. So they had a record of all of these people that were missing. Right. Okay? My point is, how is it that we have thousands and thousands of our girls and boys that are missing? There's campaigns. You see, we do the thing all like we always do. We have to put the missing persons posters up.
Yes, sir.
Where is the records on where they are? What I mean by that is that we're talking about thousands and thousands of girls missing. Where are they going? Are they turning up dead? Nobody knows. Right. Where are they? That's the question. They didn't just vanish. Right. How in the hell are you going to have thousands of girls missing and you don't hear nothing from the parents? I mean, too much, I'm saying. I mean, because we're not connected in that agency. Maybe they have a database somewhere, but you would figure that if they found half of them, there'd be some kind of notification. Regina such and such, or this one, Tanisha such and such have been found. We don't hear too much of that at all. Right. They're just missing. Where are they? You mean to tell me these people have not went to the hospital for nothing? Mm-hmm. The minute they would show up in the hospital, boom, you got it. You found them. The minute they cash a check or spend some money with a credit card, they're found. Where are they? Where are these people? The question, that's the point. They're not dead. If they're dead, somebody would find some remains, something to come up. Right. You don't even hear too much about the deaths of these women. Right. So where are they? The men too. You don't hear about. The question is, where are they? You know where they are? A good majority of them, they're in that underground world that you parents have no idea. Right. Because your children was playing around on these computers and got suckered in, got swept up in a van or ran with some group or whatever, and they're gone and you never heard from them again. Right. And they're in that thing. A lot of them are alive, but they're in wickedness. Right. And we're going to show you some of the stuff that they're into.
And Bishop, just the video you just posted about that in Charlotte, happened in Charlotte, all those was kids. Mm-hmm. All those was teenagers. They had parents. Their parents was down there. So to your point, that's how easy we make it for the enemy. Right. Now we'll make up madness. We'll all come together and there's no account for nobody. Exactly. No accountability of nobody. Where all of a sudden, now Johnny didn't come home. Right. You know, now Tyrone didn't come home. Exactly. And now we're looking for him. Or Keisha didn't come home. Right, right.
Hey, while we on that vein, go to my article. I'm gonna skip a video for a second. Go to that article about the missing girls. I didn't even get a chance to proofread this thing yet. But I just wanna just read some of this here. This is girls in DC are not missing. Oh my, I didn't even realize that. Girls in D.C. Now, they just talking about in D.C. In D.C. are not missing. They are being disappeared.
Girls in D.C. are not missing. They are being disappeared. Mm-hmm. Yasmin Vafa and Neil Irvin. Mm-hmm. Huffington Post.
Right. That's the people that wrote it or whatever. The people work for this news article. Read.
Recently, the Metropolitan Police Department began using social media to help publicize information about individuals who go missing in the District of Columbia.
Why is it that the police have to use social media? Because they're tracking their behavior. Because many of them that's what they were using. That's mainly how a lot of detectives and so forth find out where people, they said they go to their social media, because that is the hotbed of information. That's the footprint to damn near everybody. That's like the fingerprints of people. So they go to the social media. If you want to find the best information about a person, they say go to their social media. So that's what they're doing. So which is letting you know that everybody is connected to that thing. Okay, go ahead.
As a result, there has been growing attention surrounding the number of children, particularly black and Latinx.
Yeah, I don't know what that.
Yeah.
I
Latin
can see
girls,
that
I guess
word.
it was
Latin
black
girl.
and Latin girls,
Right.
who has gone missing in response to community outcry.
Hold it.
Yeah,
Black,
that's a key point.
yeah, black and Latino girls have gone missing. Go ahead.
In response to community outcry, the mayor has launched a task force designed to address the needs of runaway youth.
So these girls are running away. They are running away. Why are they running away? Because they have been fooled by what's on their social media to disassociate themselves with their parents and get lost in something. And who knows where these girls are going, and boys too. And like I said, there's whole underground worlds that our people don't even really know about, but they're out here. We're gonna show you something. Go ahead.
And to commit resources to support organizations serving vulnerable children in the district.
So they're saying that because you might have some organizations that, like we are, we're trying to find out where these girls are, but they didn't want to give us any resources, so that's a whole nother topic. But anyway, our concern is about trying to find our children. Okay, let's see. So, like I said, I'm just trying to look at some other parts in this here. All right, let's go back. I got a whole lot in here, but I didn't highlight any of this, and I wanted to go through this article. Advocates provide. All right. We come out of that. Do you see anything in there? I didn't even get a chance to highlight anything in this article, by the way.
Let's just read the second paragraph.
Okay,
Go back up.
Yeah.
For those of us who work with and on issues impacting marginalized children every day, the increased attention on vulnerable girls, especially girls of color, has been a double-edged sword. Wow. While this newfound attention has certainly placed the safety of traditional marginalized youth at the center of people.
Marginalized youth. That's our people, because they're on the fringes of society. They're not quite citizens. They're more like denizens and like on the fringes of society. That's the marginalized. They're not fully. They don't really have the education. You understand? That's what they're saying. They're like outcasts.
Right.
Go ahead.
That's why I said vulnerable girls.
Right.
Okay, they vulnerable out there. Okay, and it said especially girls of color. See, we think this just happening to the Amber Alerts and to these white girls.
Exactly.
Think they going out and partying, acting wild, doing. No, this happened to our very own
Exactly.
black and Hispanic.
Right.
Right, because it's our sisters that's the ones that's over-sexualizing themselves, like Bishop mentioned, on TikTok and all these social media. That's why they vulnerable. They putting themselves out there. Like what the brothers say out there, they got a menu now. They just look on Instagram menu.
Damn.
I don't swipe.
Those are
swipe,
pimps.
Right, swipe left. I don't want that one.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Those are pimps and predators. Those are the kinds of people that's doing that, because they're literally looking at basically like they're going shopping.
Yep.
Yeah.
Looking for different ones.
Yes, sir.
Right.
And their value is only good for about 2 months. That's about it.
Yep.
Hey, Bishop, can we jump down to the third paragraph? It's
That's
a lot of information.
That's what I want to say. Help me out, bro. Help me out. I was
Hold
trying to put all of this together all in one shot, and I ain't had a chance. Go ahead.
Listen, for those of us who work with and on issues impacting marginalized children every day, the increased attention on vulnerable girls, especially girls of color, has been a double-edged sword. While this newfound attention has certainly placed the safety of traditional marginalized youth at the center of people's focus, the tropes, myths, myths, and misunderstandings about girls of color in the communities they come from has permeated the public narrative surrounding the missing children in D.C.
So they're just talking about in D.C., but you can guarantee this is all over the country and all over the world.
All over.
Don't just think it's D.C. D.C. just talking about it, but this is everywhere.
Right.
Overseas, everywhere, there's a huge market for these disenfranchised, marginalized girls.
Israelite girls.
Israelite girls. And even when they bring out documentaries, because I got one way at the end, that they show some Edomites in there. And you'll think that, because they'll bring it up because a lot of them are caught up in it. But believe me, that is nowhere close to the number of where it comes to our girls and our boys.
Right.
It's just like that one, I forget her name. It was this one white girl that went missing, and they had a whole campaign searching for her. Meanwhile, hundreds and thousands of black girls were missing, and nobody really cared. For the white girl, it was all in the media and all types of stuff where they were looking for. Yep. Remember that? I remember. I can't remember her name, but it was some big thing about this one white girl. Mm-hmm. But nobody was paying attention to the black girls that were missing. Right. Okay? Dang. So by the time you see them talk about a white woman or a couple of white girls, believe me, there's hundreds of thousands of black girls that nobody give a damn about.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
All right, jump down to the third one. For girls of color, girls who experience and witness violence, girls in the child welfare or juvenile justice systems.
Hey, that part there, hold it, that juvenile, hey, listen to me. There was a video that we played, I think we were still in Concord, where there was a sister that was locked up and the pimp was sending her money, so when she got out, she had a place to go. Because the pimp that was on the outside was putting money on her commissary. Right. And he was befriending her with letters. Wow. So when she got out, she instantly went to work for him.
Right.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
For girls of color, girls who experience and witness violence, girls in the child welfare or juvenile justice systems, and LBTGNC girls, there are few spaces where they can be safe and free. Girls of color, particularly black girls, are pushed out of school through
suspensions because they got problems at home, and they get in fights and all that, and they get kicked out. Go ahead.
Expulsions and
being expelled. Some of them don't even get to go back to school. Go ahead.
And unfair disciplinary practices.
Meaning they get suspended when others get a slap on the wrist. Exactly. That's what it's talking about. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
As a result of stereotypes.
As a result of is this some heavy stuff? As a result, you know what? You are more violent than the white girl, so we have to be harsher on you.
And Bishop, they literally telling us what's I guess the prerequisite of starting. What you talking about the sex slaves? Yep. This is the beginning stages of all that. This is the beginning stages of what our women, our little young girls go through, and the end result is getting trafficked into that underworld.
That's where they go, man. When there's some of this underworld stuff, y'all ain't gonna believe it. I already know where they're gonna be like, no, my baby wouldn't end up there. Right. Trust me, they got a full economy for these kinds of dungeon type of things where our children are gonna eventually end up. Like I said, ask the question: where is thousands and thousands of these girls at?
That's heavy, bitch.
Where they at?
You go to any Walmart, you see a whole
wall of
full
them.
of faces.
Well, how come you hear no update on them?
Damn.
Every Walmart got a wall full of faces.
They're going Craigslist or some kind of thing, and they say, well, you can post your Instagram, such and such, fly out to so-and-so. You fly and you never see them again. Right. And they are in all kinds of amateur porn, all types of stuff. I'm telling you, it's crazy. That's what's out here, and that's just on the women. On the men, they're doing the same thing as well.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
As a result of stereotypes and implicit racial and gender biases, girls in the child welfare system often experience abuse, neglect, and sexual violence at the hands of foster care providers who are charged with their protection.
Who's supposed to be protecting them, they end up sexually violating these same girls. Yep. Right. That happens in prisons. That happens in these so-called halfway houses and all that, because they say nobody cares about them. Right. They say, ain't nobody come looking for you. Nobody's caring about it. Let me just go ahead and do my nastiness with you. And, you get a few extra this and few that. All that kind of mess is going on in some of these places. Even in the prisons. A lot of correction officers get busted for having sex with the inmates. A lot of them. Yep. Lots of them. And there's a constant turnaround. Yep. I haven't checked it out recently. But I guess if I look it up, it's still going on. Oh, yeah. Many of the prison of the correction officers was getting busted when the female prisons because they getting connected with them. Some of them even having babies and all of that.
Bang.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the constant turnaround.
You didn't go in there pregnant, but somehow you
end up pregnant. And that's a huge lawsuit. That's a huge lawsuit. So they end up firing the people, getting rid of them. Go ahead.
Girls of color and LBTG and C girls are also.
I don't know what all those letters mean. I have to look it up. Lesbian, bisexual, trans.
I don't know the G.
We know it ain't good.
Lord have mercy. Go ahead, man.
Girls are
Lord have mercy. Go ahead, man.
Girls are also more likely to be funneled through an abuse to prison pipeline.
That's the point where they're the prison pipeline. That's where they end up in the prisons, and matters are even worse. But it all begins. My point behind what we're bringing out is that the way that seemeth right unto them is when they started getting the likes. You had your daughter had a friend, a no good, wicked ass friend that said, hey, look at this. Get involved in this here. So and so likes you or something. That's all it takes is something like that to get you out of the discipline that your parents tried to bring you in, and that begins to take you on a whole journey until your butt ended up right here.
Yep. And Bishop, it don't have to be nothing crazy. Just simple. Hey, hit this joint.
Exactly.
Next thing you know, the joint laced with something.
Exactly. Exactly. That's it. Hey, that's in my lesson. That's in there. Well, this kid named Morris. This coming up in the videos. He got in trouble by riding with some friends who was smoking marijuana, and he went home and punched the holes in the walls, and they had to call the authorities on him. Now he's getting booked, and that's when his problems just began.
One bad decision.
Right. You know. Go ahead. Is there a little more on it?
That last.
Okay, yes, sir. I'll finish
that criminalizes.
Abuse to prison pipeline that criminalize them for suffering violence rather than understanding their behavior as a response to layered and complex trauma.
Layered trauma. Daddy ain't got no job.
Right.
Mama did this. Daddy did this. I'm failing in school. We don't have money to eat. My brother's in jail. So those are layered traumas, and even things that happen to them personally are extra traumas on top of traumas.
Right. Right.
That's what this is talking about.
And it start off with a little small stuff. Because it might be like, oh, look how she dressing.
Right.
Why she wearing a dress?
Right.
You know, and you think about it, we do have some Israelite kids that's in the public schools. We pray that they bring them out of them schools and homeschool them. But the peer pressure of just, she ain't got on Jordan. What kind of shoes she got on?
Right.
You know,
all of that.
Oh, look at her hair. Why she got that head wrap on her head?
Right.
You know, not realizing we trying to protect her from the wickedness and the darkness that's set up in the midst of her.
You see how hard we got to go to protect these brothers and sisters, our children. We got to fight so hard because there's so much being projected towards them to destroy them. And I'm saying it's a concerted effort by our enemies. Seriously, by our enemies. Let me make this statement here real quick because I was trying to remember it as y'all was going, because y'all was going in a little bit.
Yes, sir.
At the end of the road, like you said, you might have your little son, your little daughter, and they're talking with their classmates or whatever, or people in the yard, at the schoolyard or whatever, wherever they may be at, or social media or whatever. Oh, you should try this or you should try that. And it sounds, like the scripture that we just read, the things that seemeth right unto them. They don't really see that there's a real danger of a smile will turn into complete death. Because at the end, what is the purpose of a smile? The smile is to lower your defenses, to make you think that they're your friend. Yeah. But in the reality, they're trying to deceive you and pull you into destruction. And when your butt is in jail, the same people that lured you, you don't even see them. They ain't visiting you or nothing.
No call or nothing.
No call or nothing. Right. And then here's the thing. When all of them get to the end of the road, when they realize that they're sitting in a damn basement with some pervert chained up, or even worse, well, I can't even say ain't nothing much worse than that. But when they end up in jail, and they look, when they get in jail, they look around and they see a whole lot of people look just like them. And the reality is, damn, you mean to tell me we all fell for the same Kool-Aid?
Right.
Yeah. Here we are all together, and this is all of the roads led to this. That's what we're trying to let you parents know about these kids, because they don't know the road that they're on. But somehow the jail stay packed.
Right.
The prison stay packed. The psych unit stay packed because they're coming in there because of these very things that you don't see as serious indicators of what's happening to our children.
Right.
Go ahead.
Because of that underlying trauma. Bishop, can I show you a video?
Sir, absolutely.
That underlying. Yeah. Hey, I just posted a video. Can y'all play it? I know it was a Facebook one. Can y'all play it? So All right, before y'all play it, go back to the article real quick. I just want to remind them of why I'm bringing this up. The underlying trauma part. Go back to the article.
The article that we had up there. All praises.
All right, go to third paragraph. Go down. Third paragraph. The underlying trauma. All right. Funnel criminalization, suffering, okay, there you go. Abuse to prison pipeline that criminalized them for suffering violence rather than understanding their behavior as a response to layered and complex trauma. Now go to the video. I want to show you where some of this trauma comes from. And it starts from young, and it comes from the same people that's supposed to protect and love you.
Right.
Now watch this. This is a little baby to her mom. So it starts from very young. Trauma, underlying trauma. I don't want. All right, just play the video.
All right.
We got it.
Post shit, right? Your daddy want to post shit, right? He want to fucking post shit, and I answer the goddamn phone.
Whoa.
Tia Parsley was arrested in 2020.
Stop. Wait. Brothers and sisters, I know this was. I didn't even know this was coming up. I know people know that we don't advocate. I ain't got to say
violence.
They know all that. But we got to show these things.
Right.
We got to show these things. We got to show these things, man. But this right here just took me by surprise.
So the kids end up deviating from their parents because their parents treated them like crap from a toddler. This is and you hear what she's talking about. She's talking about the baby father. What, this baby don't know nothing about that.
Right.
The baby still
roll it again. I ain't mean to interrupt the flow, man. You hit me with the shock.
So underlying trauma, and then y'all remember back. I can't remember the sister's name back in New York. The sister that murdered her 3-4-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
Anybody remember her name?
How long ago?
It just happened not too long ago, Bishop. Okay. But don't worry. I know I don't want to bring up something that I can't remember. But go ahead, just play this video again. This is underlying trauma. This is where it starts at, from people that's supposed to be protecting you.
Post shit, right? Your daddy want to post shit, right? He want to fucking post shit, and I answer the goddamn phone. I hate your ass.
Tia Parsley was arrested in 2020, but now is back out living her best life. TikTok, please do your thing. Resurface this video.
All right, that's
People
enough.
need to know who
That's
she
enough.
is.
That's enough. Stop.
So who's that? That's the mother.
That's the mother right there.
That's the mother.
That's the mother that
That's
was
the
just.
part I wanted to see because it need to be
This is.
So my point in all that is showing you that these girls and even boys too, they get abused. What did it say? Abuse to prison pipeline.
Right.
So they're getting abused at home. You know, they don't have anybody to protect them. They can't even trust the person that gave birth to them. And now they go out there into the streets and they start dealing with all these men or OGs, whatever you want to call them, pimps. They start looking to them for guidance. And next thing you know, they in prisons. They messed up. They over-sexualized. They become prostitutes. Right. All of this stuff because there's no real leaders. There's no real guidance in the communities.
That's the point right there.
Right. What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? She like the officer said, she's not the baby still got a damn diaper on. So that means all the way up to her upbringing, she's gonna be shown that hatred. So that any inkling of anything that might seem right to her, just like if it's a smile, if it's just a gesture or anything, she gonna run to it. And the reason we bring
she's not getting it at home.
She's not getting it at home.
And
right.
You know the wicked. This wicked underground system, they know that.
Exactly. That's the point.
They set the society up that way where you're trying to bring your children up, and the discipline is what makes them quote unquote run away. You understand? Yeah. And then they say, "Well, we're your friends. We understand you and all of that.
Come over here.
Come over here."
Right.
And it's all to deceive. Hey, go back to that article. I was skimming through some more of it. Go back to that article. We're going to read the very next paragraph. Back to the article. Move down.
I think we are at paragraph 4 now, if it's the very next one.
Yeah, it says as advocates. Jump down. Right there. Coming up right there. Read that.
Yes, sir. As advocates and providers who work to end gender-based violence, we cringe when we read news reports that suggest that girls who are chronic runaways or who
voluntarily leave their homes are somehow less deserving of empathy and compassion than girls who are kidnapped. That's heavy right there. Because they're making the point, they're saying, well, she shouldn't have ran. In other words, the chronic runaway the ones who quote unquote voluntarily just leave, they don't get the same sympathy or the empathy, like it says here, as the same ones who are kidnapped in a van. But they both are running. They both are away from their parents.
Right.
In other words, there is situations that deal with that top part, and that's what the rest of this paragraph deals with. Obviously, somebody that's kidnapped is going to get some serious attention. You're like, you took my daughter, and my daughter wasn't even trying to go with your wicked behind, such and such. So there will definitely be a serious outcry to get them back. She was kicking and screaming, such and such. So you know people going to fight for that. But then they won't have that same compassion and empathy for someone who is a quote unquote chronic runaway or who voluntarily leave. That's what this part is saying here. So read on.
In our work, we know that when girls run, they are often running from something or running to something.
They're running from, that's what we want to get into what the something is. The something could be abuse, could be child abuse, could be sexual abuse. It could be that, or it could be discipline.
Right, yes, sir.
That's why I wanted to read this, because a lot of times they say, I want to get away from daddy because he's too strict.
Too mean,
I want to get away from mommy because he's too strict. When those people run away, you're still thinking that they they deserve some kind of sympathy or something. Read that thing again. I'll get my thoughts back together.
Yes, sir. As advocates and providers who work to end gender-based violence,
you got to go that high. In our work.
In our work,
right.
we know that when girls run, they are often running from something.
They're running from either it's child abuse or whatever, because you do have those situations, or they're running from parents that's really trying to put some sense into their head, and they've been following this wickedness on social media, and now they got an animus against their own parents.
Right.
Go ahead.
Or running to something.
Or they're running to who they think they are, their friends. There's a way that seemeth right unto them, but the end thereof is the way of death. Go ahead.
Many girls run away from home because they are experiencing abuse. They are
when you talk about here we go again. You're trying to discipline your child in righteousness. They call that abuse. See, we got to be careful with these words.
Right.
And then make the child think that the child is being abused when you're really trying to keep them from being destroyed. Right. And then they say, "Oh, you can't discipline your children anymore." This is the same thing. So the child end up leaving there also, and end up destroyed, end up in jail, or end up in some daggone amateur porn madness, used and abused and all types of used up. That's what's happening. That's what we're talking about. A lot of these missing girls are there. Yeah. Yes, I know, because I saw somebody posted that that they're being what they call it, organ harvest and all that.
Harvest.
Yeah, you got a few of that. I know that's what you got some of that. So I know there's a percentage of our sisters that are really just being butchered and killed and all the rest of it. Same thing with our brothers, they're being killed and butchered and all the rest of it. But a good portion of those same missing girls are caught up in these underworld sick societies that many of y'all don't even know exist.
It's all evil.
I'm telling you. Because like I said, how come you don't hear nothing?
That's what I was just thinking.
How come you don't hear anything?
That means they still alive.
You cannot go into a hospital and they're not running your records.
Mm-hmm.
Even they put you as John Doe, something, they're going to find out something about you.
Right. Some dental records, something.
It's something. They're going to know something. How is it that we're not hearing anything about all of these girls that's missing? You mean to tell me they did not pass any kind of credit card anywhere? Right. All of that.
Because it's not like we talk
You just
about
can't fall off the
infants.
grid. Right. You can't fall off the grid. You can't really get off the grid these days. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Many girls run away from home because they are experiencing abuse. They are unwelcome, or they are running to meet basic needs denied them due to poverty or neglect.
Basic needs is the pimp. Right. The pimp says, "Don't worry, I got you." The drug dealer, "I got you." Yo, this thing runs deep, man. Yeah. They give some of these girls a couple of $1,000s to put their butt up in the air with a camera on it, and they think they something because they showed some picture on Instagram or something. Right. You understand? Mm-hmm. That's big money to somebody that ain't never had nothing. Right. Yeah. And they'll fly them out somewhere. Yeah, I'm telling you, the underground world in this situation is crazy. Y'all gonna see some of that stuff. Go on.
Or they are running to meet basic needs denied them due to poverty or neglect. Girls in the child welfare system.
How come they didn't put discipline here? I'm curious why they didn't. Why they put all of this stuff here for the negative, of child abuse? Because you're not supposed to be in a situation of child abuse, violence, or anything like that. But What about I bet you the mass majority of those girls have left because their parents were serious about bringing them up properly. And they were influenced by this evil social media to disassociate themselves from parents that's trying to really bring them up. And this is what I'm talking about in this lesson here. We got to fight to keep them in this gospel, to keep them in this truth, because that's what's on the other side of it. The stuff that we talk about, that's what they're going to get.
All right.